All right, let me look at this king real fast. All right, so we've got nobles for draw, crew, crypt, can trail be draw, kinda sorta here. Imagine you play some action card as Way of the Mouse as Sentinel and trash two or more trails from the top of your deck. That would be net draw, not the most reliable of all time. Aside from that, there's some other minor trail synergies here. I think it probably behooves you to take an Ironworks at some point and just pump your deck full of trails. Because Ironworks gaining trail, it's like playing a village. You get the +1 action, but you also play the trail immediately for an extra card and an extra action. And then if you've got a deck full of trails, it's not like the win condition or anything, but you can just do nice little things like play a Sentinel at an awkward time to save a turn, or you could trash the trails with Temple for a few extra points, or once a pile empties, Poacher could discard a trail for a village effect. There's a bunch of little things there. So probably you want a bunch of trails. Abundance, unplayable. You can't set it aside on Crypt, so that's a no-go. Uh, you can get a bunch of loots with Invasion, most of which are cryptable. Yeah, so probably one or two crews just to guarantee you've got some draw on the top, and then some nobles for draw. And then Ironworks gains a bunch of trails, a few poachers, a few crypts. Hitting 10 seems like an early game priority. Also, a good argument against Abundance is it doesn't do great at getting you to Invasion, because you have to buy an action card. And I think early Invasion looks pretty good. Top deck of nobles gain a loot. You might even just trash the Duchy. I mean, Duchy's not a bad card or anything. But if this game goes long, you could easily just pull the Duchy or something. Okay, so how to open. First Instinct says Amulet plus Ironworks. Two action cards, which means you're very likely to find an action that can be played as a Sentinel turn 3. If you find an Amulet turn 3, I think it's an interesting choice whether you just play the Amulet to trash in the normal way or you play the Sentinel. Might depend on how many estates you have in your hand. Yeah, I think Amulet Ironworks just looks correct. Not seeing anything else competitive with that. I guess the other thing you can consider would be Candlestick Maker plus Ironworks. Like if you're just 100% sure you're not going to play the Amulet as an Amulet, which might be the case, I could see Candlestick Maker being a slightly better card long term once you're done trashing than Amulet. Yeah, maybe that's right. I immediately regretting my decision. It's not a big deal. Amulet's fine. But I think I've changed my mind. I slightly prefer Candlestick Maker Ironworks. I think there's scenarios where you might prefer to play the Amulet to trash rather than playing it as Sentinel and trashing that way. I think those cases are fairly marginal. I think the upside of playing Candlestick Maker and banking up a coffer to get to 10 early seems a little bit higher than the upside of Amulet potentially being a silver. Alright, but I have peer pressured Yuri into making what I have already come to believe is the wrong opening. Not egregiously wrong, but wrong nonetheless. Okay, it's not an ideal hand, to be honest. It could be worse. It could definitely be worse. You'd much rather see an action card turn 3 than not. But I've seen an Ironworks, and I've seen it with 2 money, which means if I play it as Sentinel, which probably has to be correct, I'm not hitting any number of value here. Oh! Never mind. We're fine. Thank you, Yuri, for demonstrating something that I totally forgot about. That actually might be better opening than my opening. I'm not sure. But I didn't even think about it. You could play the Trail as Sentinel. Yeah, that just totally slipped my mind. I've botched this opening, clearly. Um, but that also makes me realize this opening is better than I thought it was, or this hand at least. I was thinking, oh, I gotta play the Ironworks as a Sentinel, which I would have if left to my own devices, but Yuri has revealed something. I can use it to gain a trail and still get a Sentinel play in and not find an estate and be sad. Um, woe is me. Candlestick probably still better than nothing here. Yeah, I mean it's plus buy which could come up, and it's a coffer generator. With my newfound knowledge, I suppose I actually just play this amulet for plus coin and buy a second trail, right? So like if I could trash an estate and buy a 3, but the threes don't look any good. I could play it as a sentinel and buy a 3. Also not that great. Why not just take a trail and do the sentinel thing again? Trashing trail here. Ooh. I was gonna say it wouldn't be any good because I can't make use of the draw, but what if I crash the trail resolve Sentinel again, get a Sentinel chain, and then I think that's two coppers down there, and I would trash two more coppers, and then I'm like super duper thin. Ain't that fancy? Look at that. Wow. What a fool Yuri was making the right play. Had I been left in the dark, I would have been doing some nonsense. But he's shown me the light. So here I could, for example, play Ironworks, gain Ironworks, play Candlestick Maker as Sentinel, trash a trail, draw that Ironworks, and then trash, I think there's one more copper down there to kill. That feels like it would lead good places, probably. I need to figure out how to put money in my deck. Amulet might actually be decent at that. Maybe the path to 10 money is just gaining a bunch of silvers. I could see that being the case. I am now convinced I want all the trails. This little trail sentinel synergy is pretty fun. My turn to BRB. My voice is hoarse. I need water. Ah, from the sound of it, it just got to my turn. Alrighty. What did Yuri do? Played a trail, just the old-fashioned way. Then an Ironworks, gained an Ironworks. How uninspired. Okay. Yeah, I think I like gain silver. Oops, that's not the card I meant to gain. The thing I said was gain an Ironworks. Now I trash two trails. Wait a second. That's not. No, that is going to work. That's going to work just fine because I triggered a shuffle. I was thinking that I was going to have two cards in my discard, play one trail, draw one card, and the other trail is going to whiff. But the shuffle has been triggered here. So I will draw the Ironworks immediately. Well, that's still not going to quite work. In my head, there was going to be a silver and an Ironworks down there. I'm going to trash both of these and draw them. These cards are all still in like the, whatever you call this, the set aside window for the moment. And you resolve the trails while in the middle of resolving the Sentinel. So you can't possibly draw the coppers and silvers because they're not in your deck right now. They're being looked at by Sentinel. So if I trash both trails, I would just draw the one Ironworks. So I trash these two, draw with this one, and then what? Could Ironworks gain another trail, trash the last copper. I could trash the trail too, but it wouldn't draw anything. I could just gain another Ironworks. I think I like the thing that just fills my deck with trails. I'm just going to do this. It doesn't actually draw the silver, but it gets the trail at the top, and I think I'd rather the trails ideally be deeper down in my deck where they can be trashed rather than one top. Do I want a second candlestick maker? Two candlesticks is a lot. And if you don't need the coppers, they're basically just fancy coppers in a lot of ways, which is a decent, and they're actually worse than copper because you can't set them aside on crypt. So maybe I would prefer not to have a second candlestick maker this moment. I'm going to pass. I'm happy not to see an estate in hand. I'd like to trash that last estate. Still need a plan for getting to 10 money. I'm not super close to that goal right now. So my deck has two coppers and one silver in it. I could gain a silver off of this amulet. I could Ironworks and gain a silver, which is like 3 money this turn if I can draw it all, which I probably can't, but you never know. Maybe I should take a crew for some extra draw here. Poacher is going to be pretty good pretty soon. I expect trails to empty expediently. And then Poacher discarding trail will be a nice, reliable village effect. Sentinel trashing trail, if you trash two of them, is also a village effect. But you don't want to count on finding multiple trails on top of your deck. This game could really use a remodel of some sort. That would really turn things up to 11. So I think trails are 3-3 right now. Fury might gain another one before this turn is over. He's also thinner, it looks like. He's got all of his estates out of the deck. I do not. Okay, let's see. We both have an amulet, we both have a silver. I've got a candlestick maker, which is not a big deal. He's got an extra trail. Am I behind? I don't like that thought. Kind of feels like I might be behind here. At the end of turn 5, Yuri has another ironworks, Yuri has another trail. I've got a candlestick maker. I've got a estate still worth trashing. Yeah, I think I might be a little bit behind. I don't like that. Okay, probably this ironworks gains a trail, which trashes 2 cards and draws a card. The tricky part with the trail sentinel interaction is you put so many cards in the whatever you call it, the looked at zone. Like you're looking at 5 cards. So if you have 5 or fewer cards in your deck, even if you trash the trail, you just can't draw them. So it's kind of hard to get these last cards in my hand in an efficient way. Pretty sure I'm not getting to 10 here. Not this turn at least. But I could hit 5. I could at least guarantee the trail split goes even, right? What's the best order here? Bottom 2 cards are Amulet Copper, right? Yeah. I'll gain a trail, right? I gain an Ironworks, like third Ironworks. Can I draw back around and play the Ironworks and gain a trail that way? I'm not sure I need that many Ironworks. I mean, Ironworks is not bad. It can gain you the Poachers, it can gain you a Temple, gain Silver. If I played Ironworks and gained an Ironworks instead of a trail, I would have 2 actions, and then I could trash a copper with Candlestick Maker, line the cards up so Ironworks is now on top, play the Ironworks, find the amulet, play the amulet. Then I'm only hitting 3 money probably. I gain a silver, I buy a silver. That seems okay. The other line available, I think, would be just play this trail directly, draw the amulet, play amulet for a silver. So would I rather an ironworks and a silver or a crew, I think is the trade-off, right? I think I'd prefer a crew, which means I just do it the current way. Oh no, I'm an idiot. In my head, I thought that was going to play as a trail for some reason. I was mixing up the trail and the sentinel. See if he lets me undo that. The only card down there was the silver I just put there. I'll say thanks. That one was a little bit awkward. So what am I buying now? I could take the last trail and when the trail split 6 to 4. I think there's something to that. The trails do a lot in this deck. It also maybe denies him the ability to do something he would want to do, like maybe he really needs to play an Ironworks and draw a card off of it. I think I'm currently leaning towards that. I don't really need the 6 trails at the moment that badly, but I think they will come in handy. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take a trail, and I'm going to leave the silver on top. I think I just want to minimize the number of trails in my starting hand to maximize the number of trails I can trash. Not sure about that. So if I wanted the crew, there was another line that could have gotten me a crew, which would have been I should have, yeah, I could have done it in the opposite order. That was really dumb. So I played the trail as a sentinel and trashed a copper and played a candlestick maker, expecting to draw the silver for some reason. If I just did that the other way around, I played a candlestick maker as sentinel, trash a copper, just play the trail normally, I would have drawn the silver and gotten my crew. It's not the end of the world. I got an extra trail instead of an extra crew, and that's still a fine card. But yeah, that was sloppy. So I can, with 100% safety, play a trail as a sentinel here because it is, in fact, not even possible for me to not have trails in my top 5 cards. There's 4 trails down there, and they can't all be in the bottom 2. So I play 1 trail as a sentinel, pass 2 trails, draw the last 2 cards. Then I got Candlestick Maker in my hand. I could gain a silver this amulet. It is not impossible, I think. There might be a scenario where I get to 10 this turn. What loot do I want the most? Hey, take a look, see. Hammer seems pretty good. It's a decent number of 4s. I already got the ironwork, so it's not the biggest deal ever, but I wouldn't mind a hammer. I could see staff being potentially useful. Spell scroll might not be bad. You could just convert it into a crew or a nobles. Well, you don't want spell scroll as the very first loot because you're probably still looking for payload. But I think spell scroll would not be bad loot to get in the abstract. Annoyingly, spell scroll does not synergize the way you'd want it to with crypt. Like if you could turn spell scroll into crypt and just put it in your hand, like the way wish works, that would be overpowered. Understandably, they had to nerf that interaction by saying only if it's an action or a treasure. Sword, actually probably not that significant. You trigger your opponent's trail and they'll get a free trail play. Probably count as a sword just fine. Insignia, probably not that significant because invasion already top deck something for you. Doubloons actually wouldn't be bad here. I wouldn't mind it having a bunch of money in my deck. I think like doubloons, hammer, staff, spell school at some point, but probably not the first one. Puzzle box would be fine. I think are the ones that I have my eyes on. So what did Yuri do? Crash to copper. It doesn't look like a very big turn. I mean, he got two poachers. That's not a tiny turn either. It's trash. Play, play. Does the order matter? Probably not very much. Maybe it does. I could draw one ironwork. Let me think about this. Let's not mess this up this time. This feels like I might be able to get to 10 here. No, it doesn't work. In my head, I keep thinking like if I play a sentinel here, crash a trail, I'll draw that silver, but that's not true. I will reveal that silver along with these three cards, and then I'll draw nothing. Nothing at all. So that doesn't work. So what happens if I just... I've got 6 money in my hand right now. Can I get this to 10 money? Trashing that trail, that's just not going to do me any good. So let's say I cantrip a trail, cantrip a trail, cantrip a trail. My hand is 2 ironworks, candlestick, and 5 money. One of those ironworks could have a 50-50 shot at drawing a silver if I gained an estate, but there's no way for the other ironworks to make 2 money, I don't think. So maybe I just draw the ironworks, gain 2 poachers like Yuri did, buy a 5, and I'll hit 10 next turn, almost surely. And I could order to leave the trail on top, but I think I'd rather not leave the trail on top. Let's do it this way. And yeah, 2 poachers and a crew, I think sounds pretty good to me. That's got to get me to 10 next turn. Yuri might beat me there by half a turn. I don't love seeing 2 trails in the starting hand. Here there is a non-zero risk. I want to play the trail as a sentinel, find a trail, trash it. But there is some chance that I reveal 5 cards and none of them has a trail. Because there's 12 cards down there. Only 4 of them are trails. I feel like the odds have to be pretty heavily in my favor to find at least 1 trail, ideally 2. Whiffing would be really bad. But I think it's worth the gamble. I could just cantrip the trails, but I think it'd be nicer to play 1 trail sentinel. If I hit 2 trails, that's lovely because you just got a lost city effect out of it, which is great. You also get to order your cards, so you know what's coming up, which could affect the way the rest of the turn plays out. So I think the upside case of finding 2 more trails is very big. The downside case of finding 0 trails is very bad. The middle ground case of finding 1 trail, I think is still slightly better than cantripping it, because you draw a card either way, but then you know the next 5 cards coming up. Maybe even trash a copper. Actually, I don't think it's possible. I think I've only got 1 copper in the deck. Not trash a copper. Maybe trash a candlestick maker. I might consider trashing candlestick maker at this stage of the game. Given I'm about to add some plus buy in the form of loot. Still seems close. I think Yuri's probably going to be near 10 here. I don't know if he's got 10 money, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Like Ironworks gain a silver, draw it with a trail. Feels like you're getting 10 off of that, but I don't know those exact 4 cards. 2 of them are Ironworks, I think. And maybe 2 silvers. He has no coppers left. I feel like it's 2 Ironworks and 2 silvers, which would get you to 10, yeah. Right? Maybe not. Yeah. There was an Ironworks played already, but yeah, he got 10. Yeah, so he beat me to Invasion by half a turn. Player one ought to be getting there first, but somehow I botched it. That side though is I do have the um the trail majority. Okay, this is not a bad reveal. Didn't get the double trail, but I see a poacher on top. Oh, actually, I was gonna say I see a poacher on top, which is a village effect, but it's not necessarily a village unless I can find a trail to play with it. I think I might. I think I could either trash the Ironworks or the Candlestick Maker or nothing, all of which seem fairly reasonable. Upside of Candlestick Maker is I don't. It's my only plus buy right now, and I could hit this thing Yuri did, which is you find a loot with no plus buy on it, and you don't get to make use of the 3 money this turn, which would be some case for playing the Candlestick Maker. I think I like trashing the Ironworks. If I want another one, it'd be not hard to regain. And at the moment, I'm not that desperate to get a bunch of fours, and I just really want to make sure this turn goes off without a hitch. I feel like I'm not that desperate to gain cards with trails. Okay, that's a lovely reveal. Very happy about that. So this is going to draw. Discard trail, play it, play it. Bottom card is the silver, I believe. I don't think there's anything funky to do with trail here. Like I could trash with the amulet. I would get a village out of that or something, but better to just cantrip it. Okay, so I think Ironworks should give me another poacher, and then amulet just for coins, so I don't have to spend a coffer. Yeah, I think I'm still in the thick of this. Gain nobles. Puzzle box. Not a bad loot. And it's probably ought to be a crypt, I would think. Yeah, let's take that. All right, good starting hand. I see a poacher, I see a trail. That's a village right there. I'll have a crew on top. I might end up regaining that Ironworks at some point soon. If I end up with an excess of draw, Ironworks is a good way to make use of it. There might be a case for having multiple Ironworks in the deck. Also gives you a lot of pile out potential. Ironworks, gain Ironworks, gain Ironworks is an easy way to empty a pile. Poacher's already kind of low. Also got to watch out for the duchy pile, which will naturally lower with invasion. And then at some point, maybe you could just buy the last few duchies for a pile out. Ironworks duchy is a pile to watch out for as well. Yeah, so I think Yuri's biggest advantage is he's a tempo ahead on the invasions. I think I like having a crew and 2 extra trails in my deck, though, so I think it remains close. What looter you get? Sword? Okay, so I discard the trail here, probably? Maybe trail doesn't counter sword quite as well as I was suggesting. So if I discard the trail, I could play it as... I could just cantrip it and draw another card, which would keep me with a 5-card hand, but then I wouldn't have the poacher trail combo in my hand anymore. I could trash with Sentinel, hoping to hit 2 or more trails, kind of a similar value proposition as before. I could just pitch a Candlestick Maker and give myself the reliably decent starting hand of 4 cards, but poacher trail crew on top. I've got 6 trails. I'm a gambling man. Oh, hello there. Don't mind seeing y'all. Is there a way to trash this copper? Who cares? I've got a crypt. Um, I'll leave the trail on top for my poacher. Aha! I have a 6-card hand now. The old anti-sword. Oh, wait. The trail isn't on top. The crew's going to be on top. Oh, have I messed this up? It's probably not a big deal. There's going to be ways around this. But I don't want the crew to be on top anymore. I want the trail to be on top. So the trouble is, crew will be on top, followed by a trail, and then copper and a puzzle box, and then like 3 silvers and a duchy. So I know if I like play Ironworks as Sentinel here, I can trash the 1 trail, but I definitely won't find two trails. I know there's exactly one trail on top. Maybe I got a little bit too greedy there. It'd be lovely if I could just cantrip one of these cards somehow, but cannot. I want to make this poacher discard that trail, and it just seems that there's not a good way to do that, is there? Am I going to have to play the nobles as a village? That's disgusting. I think I've messed this up. I got perhaps a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I There's probably a better way to do all this. Maybe I needed to leave two trails on the top, and then I could like play Ironworks, trash two trails at the start of my turn, and then I have the village effect. Uh, this crew is creating problems for me. I'm pretty sure I want to silver off the amulet. I gotta top deck the crew. That's not optional. That's a nuisance. That is a real nuisance. The problem is I've got a trail two from the top, and I want my poacher to discard that trail. How do I make that happen? So I know the top seven, no, one, two, three. I know the top eight cards of my deck. I've already seen one trail, two, three, four trails. The fifth trail's down there. I know the sixth trail is somewhere in the bottom two cards. It's not easy to get to. That dang sword actually messed me up. I think I fell for a trap here. How do I extricate myself from it? The trail is so close, and I can't quite reach it. There's just no way to get plus one card worth of draw here very effectively. So I could play the poacher, discard a candlestick maker or an ironworks, play the nobles as a Acropolis, and play the crew. That's an awful, useless turn. I could play the ironworks as a sentinel, crash that one trail and play it. I would draw, I think, one of the silvers, and then I would have the crew still on top. That doesn't get me anywhere. How did I botch this badly? Oh my goodness. What a disaster. With the power of hindsight, it's really obvious that I should have just left two trails on top of my deck and then trashed them. But I got a little bit carried away with myself. Well, I guess I'm just going to take plus one coin for the moment. Apparently, my deck cannot support more silvers. I'm so upset at myself at this. I've really got myself into unnecessary pickle. This is just a total unmitigated disaster. And totally self-imposed one, too. God dang it. Crash the trail and the copper. Play the trail. I'm only getting one action out of that. I just botched this so badly. I play the poacher as a sentinel now. I definitely don't find the other trail. I'll be okay drawing the crew dead and just setting it aside with the puzzle box. That's not the end of the world. Or setting aside the nobles, maybe. I mean, maybe that's just the best I can muster. Play poacher, discard candlestick, play crew. I will hit 10. I can set aside the nobles, I guess. That was just so dumb. At least if I lose this game, it'll be my fault. Such an unforced error there. Don't really need you very much. Think I'd take another poacher for free? It's not even the sword's fault. the the play I ended up making left me with a perfectly reasonable option around that. If I had just thought about it, I leave two trails on top, play one of those cards as a sentinel, trash both trails, and then the turn is lovely. I play the crew, I play the nobles, I draw all my cards, all's right with the world. I just got a little greedy, didn't think about it, forgot that the crew was going to go back on top of the deck, and that just left that one trail, one card too deep for me to find. Man, that was so dumb. Interesting. Maybe Yuri's having some problems over there too? Looks like he failed to find a trail. And trashing two silvers looks like bailing out, like shoot my deck is too thick. I think in general, the silver here is a better card to have than to not have. So maybe I'm still in the thick of things. I want to believe Yuri messed up somehow. I don't want to believe that that was just poor luck. It'll be sad if Yuri's suffering from poor draws and I'm suffering from poor play. Yeah, we're definitely in a situation where you got to watch out for piles now. Poacher is low. There's Ironworks afoot. Invasion is lowering both nobles and duchy. This turn might be province over invasion, depending on what the piles end up looking like. If not for piles, I definitely still prefer to click invasion for sure. But a pile up might be a concern. We'll see. I do think I'm happy about having the six trails. I think that was probably the right call. Maybe even better than the crew, the thing that I was initially going to buy. Like that last turn, for example. Finding a trail just makes all the difference in the world. Because the best village here is poacher discarding trail. You don't want to use nobles as a village if you can at all avoid it. Sword here is going to once again be kind of annoying. Because I've actually got a six card hand. Just discarding the duchy wouldn't be a big deal. But do I pitch the trail and do the thing again and hope I don't mess it up this time? Or do I just pitch a poacher? So if I discard duchy, discard trail, play the trail. Again, if I trash two trails, I draw plenty of cards, but then I don't have a trail in hand for the poacher. If I leave trails on top of my deck, that crew is maybe the crew is just a mistake. Maybe the crew never should have existed. The crew being on top makes it so hard to get to the trails. If I discard a poacher, well, I've got one trail in. Maybe it's discard a nobles. Why'd you have to get a sword, Yuri? Also, the thing I specifically hate about sword is that it's not discard one, which is making a big difference in this exact hand. If sword were discard one, I think it wouldn't be half as bad. Um, but sword nuking puzzle box just feels like a cruel and capricious interaction. If I could just have this five card hand, I don't care about the duchy. I just want this five card hand. Why is discarding one not enough? If I pitch poacher, I can discard one trail, and then I can play crew and a nobles, and then hope to find a second poacher, I guess is the best call. Yuri has exactly 10. I'm guessing it's going to be one more invasion, probably. Yeah. Balloons, I think, is pretty good here. Although Yuri apparently is suffering from too many treasures if he trashed those silvers. Can I afford? So, like, if I were to click invasion here, I would lower duchies to 2 and nobles to 1, and that would lose to 13 money, which would be enough for invasion, duchy, nobles, buy a duchy. No, 12 money even. Yeah. Yeah, so I probably can't click invasion again. Puzzle box seems better than prize goat right now. Is that all my poachers? That might just be all my poachers. And I've got all my trails in hand, alas. How do I get a village here? I guess I'm definitely just cantripping some of these. Okay, there's a poacher. All right, I'm getting places. Slowly but surely. Probably, I might get an abundance here off of Ironworks. If I'm getting an action card, then that would be one more coin. I'm not sure if I'm getting an action card. I gotta figure that out. I could contemplate gaining a temple and trashing the trail with the temple for a little bit of extra points. It's only 1 point unless I rebuy a temple. And I don't really want two temples in my deck all that badly. Let me just quickly double check there's not a win. I doubt there is, but you never know. Yeah, I don't think I have enough draw to like loop the Ironworks and empty the pile that way. Probably just adding some treasures here. I think I would feel okay about doing invasion for a duchy and a crew, perhaps. That only loses to 17 money for a double invasion. And I wouldn't rule out Yuri hitting 7 money, but that seems not guaranteed with these decks. And then if Yuri can't win, I'm in a better spot in that scenario. Do I hit 10 without the abundance if I do that? So let's say Ironworks gains abundance, play poacher, discard trail, draw the abundance. I'd have 3 money, 4 money, 7 money, 9 money. I would hit 10 if I spin the coffer, it seems like. Is that right? 3 money already, plus 3 from puzzle box is 6, plus a silver from amulet is 8, plus 1 from the poacher. No, that's 10 even. So yeah, if I do gain an abundance, buy invasion, gain a crew, I get 3 money back from the abundance, plus 3 from the loot, most likely, unless I hit spell scroll or endless chalice. Then I'd have 6 money, plus a coffer. But the difference between 6 and 7 is pretty big, just because with the coffer, that's the difference between an extra province and not. I'd love to do invasion plus a province. But I think I'm 1 coin shy of that. I don't think there's any loot that makes me more than 3 coins on average. I think I prefer the um the invasion line, in which case I do want the abundance. Hand it through. Puzzle box, don't mind that. Even if I get hit with sword, which I probably will, having the duchies in the starting hand means they go down to the discard pile, which is the best place for them. And I've got 6, which I still haven't figured out what I want to do with. Duchy is too risky, nobles is too risky. Taking a duchy loses to 13 money, taking nobles loses to 12 money, both of which seem very realistic. This scenario still loses to 17 money, but I think I've just got to take that risk. I'm a little behind on points. I can't really plan to have too many more turns. Maybe it should just be like 2 silvers or something. Probably don't need a third crew all too badly. Also, 3 crews on top would be terrible for 2 turns from now. Yeah, I just wish I had 1 more money here somehow. Oh, having an amulet in play is actually kind of nice for resolving that problem I was having earlier. If I have a trail in my starting hand, I can trash it for a village effect. That might come up. Yeah, I feel like I'm underplaying this a little bit. Um, it's not a bad starting hand. Fortunately, it doesn't look like a great start for Yuri. If you're playing your nobles for villages, that's never a good sign. If he hits me with a sword, I'm not sure if I discard the poacher or the silver. Probably the silver. I don't need the poacher in hand if I can trash the trail with an amulet. But I think I'd rather have the poacher in hand in case I draw into another trail, which I likely will. See, I think I'd just discard the silver in that case. That looks like a desperation play to me. Hopefully Yuri did not find a trail. For as much as I feel like I've botched this, it seems like he's struggling over there as well. Maybe these decks are just inherently awkward. The whole trail sentinel interaction is just really tricky in a lot of ways. And I think I've just been messing it up since the opening, even. I didn't even notice the little buy sentinel turn 2 interaction until Yuri did it. Oh my goodness, we're still only on. This is game 3. Uh, Looking at the time, Yuri has definitely taken more time than I have by a decent chunk. I think it's more so the kingdoms than anything. This game and the last game, I think, have both been fairly complicated kingdoms. Last game, the first game, I probably should have just resigned sooner than I did, but I got distracted by the technical difficulties. Okay, so Yuri did find a trail. He gets to continue his turn somehow. He trashed an ironworks. That probably makes sense. As you're probably trying to bring the game to a close, but I think your most realistic win condition is emptying duchies and nobles, and ironworks doesn't help with that. There might be scenarios where emptying poachers ends up being easier. I think you'd just rather get that out of your deck. If I can get a score lead, I'd be very happy. I think my deck has a good deal more longevity to it than Yuri's does. That friggin' sword, I don't like you. Alright, yeah, province makes sense. Uh, 2 nobles and 2 duchies would be a losing tie. If I could do 2 nobles, 2 duchies, and an estate, that would be a win. I'd probably just take the 1 coin here off of. Oh, nope, no, I'm not. Forgot what I was doing with the amulet. I'm trashing a trail with my amulet, is what I'm doing. Playing trail off the amulet is a village effect, whereas playing it normally is not. Pretty big difference. Ask me. Okay, yeah, my deck is working a lot better than yours is. despite myself. This feels like it's going to be a win. Yeah, this is just a win. And by a lot. Not even Endless Chalice could stop me. Okay, I think the trail split ended up mattering a lot there, more than I anticipated when I did get the last trail. Like I didn't think it was gonna be that big a deal, but the trails were kind of significant.